Okay. Let me double check that the microphone is receiving sound. It looks like it is. Internet is so far behaving. Let's see if it stays that way. Okay, doing some more ATO, and I wanted to work on this. A lot of it is still black because that I'm going to paint with some Turbo Dork paint to try to give it a little like oil-like reflection, kinda. It should come out like this. You don't get the whole color spectrum on the camera like you do in person. But in person, there's a little bit of purple on the back edge when you're moving it in the light. These are my test spoons for the color. But it'll have this, makes it hopefully look like oilish. Hi, Doug. Is the audio coming through okay? There's a little exclamation point on YouTube Studio. It's being kind of weird. Hopefully it's coming through fine. So I'm still like speed painting these things. It's going to be speed paint plus again, because we'll use some speed paints and contrast paints on a lot of it, but then there's going to be some other parts that get actual just straight acrylic and maybe a little bit of dry brushing on part of it. But I'm aiming to get this stuff done, so it's not going to be like groundbreaking paint jobs here. And there's going to be what I think is a lot of gray from the buildings, and all of these are statues. So I'm just going to try to mix it up with different gray stone colors up there. And see what we get. I also have the parts that go into these holes that we'll have to work on. So like that is when you don't have the vantage point, and then it turns into this one. When you do have the vantage point, so you can put your miniature on there. I did get the plastic showdown board for KDM. I'm like 65% of the way done with it. Since you asked about it, I'll show you one of the sections that has some of the green on it. This is one of the middle sections that has some of the detail on it, but I still haven't done like the little lanterns yet. And then I want to put some low-level light down in these cracks, and there's a bunch of lanterns to do here still. So this is basically what the rest of the board looks like. There's one panel that I still have to do the green on, and some of the little skulls before I go and start doing the lanterns and stuff, and then the low-level light down in the cracks. All right. Where did I put the chimera? Oh, there it is. Wait. So, I'm just going to start here. I'm going to start with the lion because that's like the smallest little part. Such a big miniature, I don't know how much I want to zoom in. But we'll start with that. Any painting tips? I did a lot of dry brushing. And I glued mine together, which turns out may have been a mistake. If you want to get the terrain that they're selling now, I have other 3D terrain already for KDM, so I'm not missing out, I don't think. Plus, I have a lot of 3D terrain for the other expansions and stuff for KDM already. But the way their terrain works, you need to be able to pull you need to be able to pull a little square out and then put a terrain tile in. Um, but I glued mine together. So I primed it all black because I wanted the outside to be black and the deep dark recesses to be black. But you could easily get away with a dark gray priming it. And then I did a couple of different dry brush coats. I did a dark gray on kind of the whole thing, the whole board. But then I did a lighter gray in the middle. So like starting in the center of the board where where all the lanterns are and the cracks, like where the lantern horde, I guess, would be ish. Not really the actual big lantern horde thing, but there's a bunch of lanterns in the cracks in the middle. And I think the actual game board might be lighter in the center, now that I think about it. It's been a while since I looked at the actual game board. So I did a lighter gray in the middle, and then I kind of dry brushed in big circles, so it kind of looks like the light's going out from the middle. But then I really wanted the details to pop, so I'm not going to shade any of the plants on there. I want the green to really pop off of there. And the skulls I did with a Skeleton Horde contrast paint, I think. First I painted them white, and then put the contrast paint on it so they would pop out. And we'll see what the lanterns come out looking like and the light. I'm going to experiment on one little tiny section first, but I think I'm just going to dry brush some different shades of yellow, maybe brown yellow, like would be the big dry brush, and then maybe a lighter color down the middle to make it look like it's lighter and brighter down in the recesses, if that makes sense. We'll see. I'm not in a hurry to finish that because I think I'm going to have ATO on the table next before I get KDM on the table again. So I'm just going with a dark yellow first, and then I might come back and like dry brush over this speed paint. So some of the details will pop, and we'll obviously paint the tongue and the teeth their own colors. I'm not too worried about being sloppy with the exterior because that's going to all have to get done in black again before the turbo dork paint, turbo shifting paint from turbo dork goes on. I'm not too worried about the teeth either because those will get painted over white. All right, now we gotta let that dry. Nice little base color. Now I've been debating on what to use for green for these snakes. Maybe camo cloak, and then I'll maybe dry brush that also. Dry brush them. Don't need too much. I don't know if this is going to be dark enough. Could always do a second coat, I guess. After the first one dries. You really got to let these transparent paints dry before you actually even can tell totally what the color is going to do. In the end, it's got to all settle. Some of the parts that kind of look like rock are going to end up being the Agros Dune color, just because I don't want the whole miniature to just be gray. I need to adjust a tiny bit more. Most of this drop isn't going to be used, unfortunately. All right, let that dry. I might come in with just some actual acrylics and highlight the face of the lion. All right, let's get the dunes out. Oh, that's cool. Did they ship yet? I actually, right before this stream started, went out to my mail and got my 15th anniversary Survivors box, and so I might do an unboxing of that later. I don't do unboxing videos, but I was thinking about starting to do some, especially KDM stuff, because I get so much of it. I didn't even go through and clean up mold lines on this stuff. I was actually thinking about KDM last night and KDM projects, and was thinking that I might, after I finish the board, I think the next thing I might paint for KDM is the Black Knight, because I think it might be kind of fun to do the Squire campaign. I think that's what it's called, right? The Squire campaign, the little 5-year campaign that comes with the Black Knight. We're just roughing in some base colors. With the speed paints and contrast paints on top of our undercoating. We'll do some different grays. I actually even thought about maybe making that horse statue like a bronze horse or something. That might be kind of cool. Break up the whole thing and get some more color on there. Well, I have the dunes out. Might as well just go around. Not worried again about getting it on the parts that will have turbo dork on it. So I gotta go through and make it all black again. I would normally say that that would be a rock, but again, I don't want a whole bunch of gray. So it depends on, so Doug asked a question, can you tell me your basic approach to painting? What I mean is your process, like prime, base, etc. Taking notes tonight so I won't have to ask you again. So for this type of painting, I'll talk about this type of painting first, which is undercoating and then putting transparent paints and adding a little bit of extra touches to it, maybe. So I might like dry brush or do a little tiny bit of highlighting, but this is like speed painting, and it's been popularized in the last couple of years to be known as slap chop. It's by no means a new technique. Undercoating is not new, but it's actually become much easier to do. Maybe easier is not the right term. Much more accessible is maybe better, with the prevalence of transparent paints like speed paint and contrast paint. So for this type of painting, I prime in black. So I will prime everything black. I almost predominantly prime in black anyway. I prime in black, and then I use a gray. I have a gigantic bottle of gray primer, but you don't have to use primer for the first dry brush. It can just be gray paint. So the first dry brush I put on top of the prime is gray. And I really go to town, like really, really go to town with the gray. I don't have anything here that's still just gray, I don't think. Because these transparent paints aren't designed to go over black. Like they don't show up very well over black. They're designed to be painted over white, right? So I try to just leave the deep dark recesses black. And even on this cloak, like those recesses might even just be the gray. Like there could be a little bit of the black left in there, but I really try to coat it with the gray also. And then I go back and do white, and I don't worry about getting as much coverage with the white. Maybe just the topmost parts, most visible parts. I'm trying to tell if that's like the oil stuff, or I think it is. We're gonna paint that part, the oil stuff. And then I do these transparent paints on top of it. If I'm going to be painting in a more traditional like base layer and highlight up from there, I probably still prime in black just because that's what I have for my airbrush, and I like to prime with my airbrush because I usually prime in large batches and just try to get a lot of stuff done while I'm sitting at the airbrush, because I'm going to have to clean it out when all is said and done anyway. Yeah, but then if I'm doing that traditional, then I'll do base. Now sometimes, I mean, I think what you probably really should do is if you want it to be a brighter miniature, you can prime in white. I just haven't really had any good luck with priming things white. I haven't found a great white primer. I can't tell where the oily stuff is supposed to stop. So I think I will make it just going to put a little bit of dirt right here. Now you also could prime with the predominant color. That your miniature is going to be. I don't have a whole lot of primers that are different color. I don't have any other primers that are different colors actually. But if you're gonna rattle can prime, like the sky's the limit with colors, because you can get all kinds of colors from your hardware store. Just have to make sure that the particular paint that you're using will stick to plastic. The particular company is escaping me right now. It's either Krylon or Rust-Oleum. They have a line of camouflage paints that stick to plastic. Just have to look at the can. As long as it sticks to plastic, it should work. I haven't done a whole lot of like traditional base layer highlight painting lately. That takes me a long time. it just ends up taking a long time. I mean, it's nice results and everything, but sometimes you just got to get stuff done. And I think this one will be just the oil stuff and gray. Now this side is all this monster. And the black stuff, I think. Yeah, that'll be all the black stuff. All right, we're going to have yellow on the lion, green on the snakes. We've got some weird monster down here. And then this dragon thing. It's kind of about thinking about doing this kind of dragon looking thing with a red color. And then what about this guy right here? So close to this, I don't know if I want to use like the I'm thinking about like this desolate brown color. Purple. Burgundy color is kind of cool. But it would be right next to the dragon. That's red. Brighter green? Let's do the dragon first. I don't know if that's going to be too bright. Probably not. I don't know there's going to be so much gray on the top. I gotta do the roof of this building different color, too. Just so there's more color somewhere. But I mean, like, the highlight of this miniature is going to be the, what's it called? The, boy, this is way purpler than I thought it was going to be. This is probably going to have to get dry brushed a, more distinct red, so we'll just keep it dark red for the base. I don't know, maybe I don't hate the purple. Sorry. It's kind of awkward thing to hold on to. I mean, when as soon as it hits the miniature, it's red, but then it's drying like a purple color. Might have been easier to do if it was attached to the miniature, maybe. We can always come back and add the details of the like teeth and stuff later. After all the other detail work is fine. And sometimes I just jam this brush into stuff. I've had this brush forever. It's my non-detail workhorse brush because it does not have a point on the tip anymore. So I am not expecting to be able to do any magical detail work. Just touch that column. Fortunately, when it's still wet, oops. I didn't get it all off, but oh well, I can add some gray to that. There will be little parts got missed. Yeah, this is gonna need a dry brush to make it look cool. All right, same dragon. When the vantage point gets created, I mean, I think it's a dragon. It has some of the hallmarks of a dragon. Lots of little teeth that we can throw some white on later. Right now I'm looking for little tiny white spots that didn't get covered. Which almost seems to be unavoidable. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. Now, what about this guy? We'll do the claws like in black by themselves later. So there's a claw coming out right there. I think I want to work on some of the stones and stuff. Some of the gray parts, just to see what might be, how it's going to look. But let's paint this up here or something. How about that? Would have been like the most brick looking color, I thought. That is not how it turned out though. How about a brown color? So these would be like tiles, I guess, on top of the stone building. The question becomes how far down the front and the back should this color go? Probably just the edge. All right, let that settle in, and then the smaller brush to do the edge. Can always tell it's delicate work time when it gets real quiet. All right, a little more color on the top there. So I think I'm gonna go Great Grays, Ashen Stone, Runic Gray, and not Ultramarine Blue. Charger Gray. Just want some different grays. All right. Gray, blue, or gray. Start with these two. Runic Gray. All these buildings down here. It's not going to do a whole lot, but it's just going to make it look like more than just something that's been primed and dry brushed. I think this one adds more color when it dries. Let's do this big statue in it. It's kind of like a bluish gray. Very similar to Griff Charger from Games Workshop, I think. Actually, now that I think about it. Um, all right, that one's gonna be dark. Maybe I will do... I kind of like this right here, especially when all of this is going to end up being solid black again. I'm going to paint these bricks up here, this colors, this runic gray. This, no, there's some more. These bricks should be the same color, I guess. That's a big building. Should it be the dark also? I was actually thinking about maybe making this statue back here bronze also, but leaving the base like that. I kind of like the idea of leaving that color. Way too much pooling up on this guy's foot. That's probably a dumb idea. I say coffee stained. Dang it. That was dumb. I'm gonna have to paint that again. I wasn't paying attention and it pooled up on his foot and I had to pull it off. That's not even the right color. Oh man, that's gonna stay like that forever. I almost have to repaint the whole foot. So when that is in there, I think I want to paint this the dark gray. Really hardly tell the difference right now, but it kind of darkens up more as it dries. It dries down, is what they say. Don't ask me who they is. Stone on this, there's pillar and some pillars. Might actually leave that. What did I use ashen stone on? I can't remember now what it looks like. Gonna get even another gray-ish color. Yeah, now the question is, do I want to do the dark gray on the big building? Gotta get this little brick. That's fine. I think so, and I'll just leave the pillar white. And then the pillars on these things will stay white also. This dark gray color dries super fast. Kind of weird. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. All right, let's have a little bit of fun and add some metal. Make a couple bronze statues. I have to switch to my metal water and metal brush. Just dry. I just saw a little part on here that needs... It's weird with the parts that aren't permanently attached. All right. Put my regular water, my regular brushes to the side, or I will cross-contaminate. Now this is obviously going to need to get a wash to get its details back after putting this base metallic coat on. There are Army Painter metallic speed paints. I have not enjoyed those as much as the other ones. And a soldier like this looks like makes sense to be something that they would make a big bronze statue of, right? All right, we got to be careful down by the base because they don't want to ruin the bottom. Oh boy, that's reflecting hard. Might have been dumb to pick this because not all of it is extremely easy to get to. Should have thought this through more. Should have done it first, actually. Because then any oopsies could have been covered up. Sorry about the angles, but this is kind of weird. This would be a gigantic bronze statue. But everything in this world seems... Oh no. Did I touch the building? No, I didn't. Okay, good. Everything in this world seems like it has the possibility of being bigger than ours. Okay, that is extremely bright and reflective right now, but once that gets a black wash put on it, the world will be right again. Do I do the pony? I think so. I kind of just want more things for your eyes to see. It is going to be interesting to paint the turbo shift in there. I could try to do like a cool patina or something with a contrast paint over the bronze. That might be interesting. And if it screws it up, then I just go back over it again. Oh, I gotta get the other side of the horse. I heard the polo come in, Barrett, and I was going to listen to it in a second. You know my answer is going to be Monster Grease, right? Doesn't matter what the question is. The answer is Monster Grease. I think while that dries, oh, I still got to come up with a color idea. I think I'm crafting another full set of leather armor and 10 10 Monster Grease. That sounds amazing. I don't know if it's enough, though. I don't know if it's enough. I don't know what color to paint this guy. Need to make my dragons more red. I'm gonna run out of dry brushes. Another full set of leather armor sounds good. You guys have the hand, right? Yeah, you need to use up your resources, man. Nemesis fights. I think can be resource draining. This is not doing much. Well, that was dumb. Forgot to wipe off the excess. Well, he's much redder now. I was thinking about monster grease. We'll get this one done and then compare it to the other one. And then maybe even go more red. Or not more red, lighter. All right. Definitely a difference. I don't know, do I dry brush or try to highlight it? Man, there's a spot that totally did not get painted. It's hard to see. All right, so we do not want to go with adding white because that just makes pink. You don't want pink. Is this brighter? Nothing happening. I don't want to go crazy with this either. A little bit of a difference. All right. Wash my dry brush. Which will be a wet brush for a while. Try to get as much of the water out as possible. It's only one of my makeup brushes. Oh no. Got red on my pillar. I'll have to fix that later. What color should that guy be? See it. See what this does to the snakes. I'm trying to brighten them up a little bit. Do their teeth later. Well, that came out weird. almost don't want to put the wash on the statues just yet, because as much as I'm manipulating it and moving it around right now, that wash might not settle the way I want it to. Might move around too much. I don't want to do another green. I've got green and yellow. Blue just seems kind of weird. Used hardened leather up here already. This is already going to be like dark and reflective. Just looking at my color chart. I mean, maybe I don't know. It might not be the best, but I gotta do something. So we'll use this sewer color. Just reading the transcribed message, Barrett, if you're still here. There's some stone right here that I didn't paint. I'll have to get that later. I think I want to put all the black back on. Still, yeah, so I read part of the transcribed message. Monster tooth necklace is good. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought you guys were streaming tonight. Then when I realized you weren't is when I decided to schedule something. But I guess twice in one day would probably be a little much to ask of, not really Colin, but Monica. Yeah, the only thing is if I want to dry brush this, I don't want that to touch the part that's been painted black, I guess, to base for the Turbo Dork. I could just touch it up if I accidentally hit it, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what it looks like with the turbo shift paint around it. All right. Let's get the primer ready. Never tried to paint something with this much surface area using the turbo shift paints. And they have an interesting drying process, so it might be maybe a learning experience. Should probably get the smaller brush out for these little areas that are next to stuff. That has already been painted. In fact, I think I'm just going to switch. Just going to switch brushes. Delicate work happening here. Probably gonna have to do the turbo shift paint and like try to find sections, because I also don't want to touch it. End up with a fingerprint in it. I'm not too worried about the details like the tongue and the teeth and stuff until after I get a lot of this other work done, because that is not close to like the edge or anything. It's making my hand shake. I don't have a large handle. To put large minis in or on. Doing all of this black in the turbo shift is going to be interesting. Turbo shift paints was one of the first things that Barrett and I ever talked about. Online, I mean, together. And the painting with pals. Those were so much fun, dude. I remember when you had, was it William from the Hungry Gamer on? I told him in chat. It's like, now you have to know, William, that the tradition and the goal for these painting with pals things is to get Barrett to buy some type of accessory for painting. Or new paint or something. It already looks pretty oily and bubbly. Just being painted black. I like the idea of stepping it up a little bit. With the turbo shift paints. But I'm not too mad at how it looks with I mean, it looks like black sludge already. But I think it's supposed to be some type of oil or something. I'm not sure exactly. Because I haven't played Cycle 2 yet. And the art doesn't show a whole lot. At least the art on the card, I should say. I don't know if there's more in the books. I guess I didn't look in the books. Glad I was thinking ahead and didn't dry brush the entire thing. Thinking ahead is something I do about once a month or so. So I've met my quota. Where can I hold you? Oh, right there. Oh man, too shaky holding it there. Okay. I know this isn't like the most zoomed in session. Today. Shoot. So a spot I'm gonna have to cover with oopsie paint. Did you edit your video already, Barrett? Your unboxing video? He might actually be talking on our message right now. I think I'm finally running out of paint in the little pot that I dumped it out into. Did I get all of it on here? I think so. Now we gotta do these. These were a little harder to just target the dry brushing area. There, I painted my hand. I forgot to tell you earlier, dude, I was cracking up with the cards all over the floor. Little behind the scenes secret sauce. I don't know if that's secret sauce, but it was funny. You can always still say at least you didn't shake an open paint container on stream. I got that going for me. That title. Open paint container shaker. There's quite a few of the primordials and even a couple of the titans when you get into these next cycles that are very dark and like just a lot of black or dark colors. It's like, well, that's a little boring looking. I do love a lot of the art in the game, though. This game has great art on the cards. There, now you can see more what the that part will look like. Now we just gotta do the exact same thing with this one. And not paint the pillars. This feels super awkward to hold like that. Finish doing the detail part. All right, see you later. Probably talk to you tomorrow. I don't think this is going to be a one session figure. Close stuff is done. Big brush. course, I would run out of paint with like a tiny bit left to do. I definitely want to add the details, like paint the teeth and stuff. I just want to get all of like the base stuff done, just so I can make sure that all the colors and stuff are, color scheme and everything is correct. All right, we got to switch back to detail. Brush. I wouldn't like necessarily call this a detail brush, actually. It's just smaller than what I was using. This is so awkward to hold. Mm-hmm. I was like part of it that I'm not exactly sure. If like that right there should be black. I'll have to wait till it dries a little and then I can put it on the model and see what is showing. No, I don't think it is, actually. Now the same area with the vantage point. Pretty sure that's what they're called, vantage point. Yeah, vantage point. I mean, I can make any part of it this black color, I guess, if I wanted to. Or oil corruption, or whatever the heck it is. I get that out of there. All right. It's a start. This light is blowing it out a little bit. Let's wash those bronze statues, I guess. Look, is there any other parts that need the oil? Nope. Gotta put some details on this guy. I'll decide what I want to do with the talons after I finish with the sludgy stuff. Let's put some wash on the metal. Probably going to watch it a couple of times, actually, after it dries, so that it's not so bright. Oh, wait. I was thinking about doing like a patina or something. So, what would a bronze patina color look like? Don't I have something? I do. It's supposed to be like a, I think it is like a wash. Let's see what happens. Oops. I wonder if I'm supposed to wash it black first. I don't remember. Or maybe this is supposed to just be put over tiny parts of it. Because I'm not loving the way that's looking. I'm going to wash it black first. I honestly don't remember how to use that stuff. Putting this on the horse is going to be a little more interesting because it's a lot of flat surface. I think this Nuln Oil stuff gets darker as it dries. It's kind of weird. This newer Nuln Oil formula. I just don't want it to turn my stone into something that looks weird. All right, now I gotta let this sit. I don't want to be rotating the model a whole bunch while that is drying. And that's going to take a while to dry. I think that's going to do it. It's been 2 hours and 14 minutes. Still a lot of work to do on this thing. A lot more details to pick out. We've just got some base colors and stuff on here. This stuff is pretty much dry though. So while that part dries, that's the vantage point one. Yep. Pick out some more details. Probably just make the whole base black. If this part's going to be the like shiny. We definitely got to work on this lion. Pick out some details on the lion. Do the tongue and the teeth. Highlight some of it so it's not just that. So it's not just a speed paint color. Figure out what to do with this guy. I might come back and dry brush it like a tan highlights or something. Let's turn the light off. Pick out his teeth. Just as I said, I didn't want to be rotating the model a lot. I'm rotating the model a lot. I kind of like the shades that are on the snakes. I'm going to put some red eyes on them, and we got to do the teeth still. But I want to do the Turbo Dork part next stream, probably. because that'll give me a more idea of what the whole thing is going to look like as far as all the base colors in. And then I can start picking out more details and stuff. A lot of gray at the top, but used several different shades and actually kept some of it just the dry brushed part. So there's different colors. We're going for speed here. Speed. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks for coming. And I'm probably going to schedule the next one. I don't know, maybe tomorrow. It depends on some scheduling things with my wife. So it might be tomorrow, or it might be Thursday. It might even have to be Friday. Not sure when I can come out and paint again. There's some school stuff with the kids and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Anyways, if you're still here, thanks for coming, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy everything I put up on the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.